Hi, and welcome to another Python tutorial. I'm going to jump right into it. I'm assuming that most of you guys are familiar with Python to an extent, at least in this point of the video. If you're not familiar with Python, that's okay. I'm going to take everything step by step in what a string is. So, the first thing that I wanted to talk about was, of course, the variable that I've established here. So we have this variable called word, right? So word equals my name, which is Pierce, right? So P-I-E-R-C-E. Now, if I go ahead and I run this print statement that I just had commented, you'll notice, let me go ahead and run it again, it comes out as Pierce, which is really interesting, right? So now we know that it worked. It did work, and that is a string. A string is just a collection of characters. So we had the letter P, the letter I, the E, the R, the C, and the E. That's why I went ahead and listed it out a few moments ago. Now, there are things that you can do with strings, which is really, really cool. So you can actually modify strings to become certain things or do certain things. So as I said before, a string is a list. Well, let me go ahead and actually get this print statement instead. A string is a list of characters. So, for example, if I just wanted the letter P from Pierce, right? Let's go ahead and just take the first, which is, remember, in coding languages, we actually start from 0. We count from 0 to whatever number. Well, the position of P in this case is 0, so we want the 0th. I don't know if that would be proper, but the 0th item, the number 0, index 0, if I may say. So we're going to take index 0, which should be the letter P. And all we're doing is printing whatever is inside of here, right? So this is the syntax, or the form, to get the letter P. So let's go ahead and run our code. And as you can see, we got the letter P. So that is how we can take different parts of a string. If I wanted the letter I would take the 1 position and get the letter I. But we're going to go back to 0 and keep that code just in case. Now, another cool thing is strings can be sectioned off into pairs. So, or into parts, in parts. So, if we take a look at this code that I wrote earlier, this is a print statement again. And we have a range here that goes from 0 to 3. So what you would expect is it would start at 0 and go 0, 1, 2, 3, right? And it would take in the R. Well, in syntax in Python, the way that Python works, we only take up to the second number here. This colon right here just means to a certain item. So 0, 2, 3, it does not count 3. So let's go ahead and print this out, right? And we get pi, right? Because we only want to get the letters up to that certain number. So let's do the count, shall we? So we have 0, 1, 2, and it stops at 3. We don't go over here to the R. So this would be a correct output if you would like to get the characters within that range. So that's just another really cool thing that you can know about strings. Now, replacing string characters. What if we wanted to change Pierce to fierce, right? We wanted to change the letter, one of the letters inside of the string. Well, it's just as easy as this. We take the variable name, right? And we put a dot. Saying we would like to call a function or some sort of, or a method. I'm more of a function than a method. But you would say word dot replace whatever character you'd like, comma, the character that you're going to replace, comma, what it's replaced with, right? So let's go ahead and run this. Well, as you can see, we get the original Pierce, and now we get fierce, right? So now it's changed. It's changed just how we wanted it to, which is perfect. We actually really wanted it to change that way. So what's another thing that we can do with strings? This will be the last part of the tutorial, but I believe this is very valuable information. So we're going to call this listed characters, right? We're going to call this listed characters. We're going to get a list of word. If we hover over this, it says this is a list, right? So we're going to do a for loop. For character in listed characters, print character, right? So let's go ahead and run this code. I'm actually going to comment out up at the top here the original word, right? And now we get Pierce, P-I-E-R-C-E. Well, what is this line? What are these lines of code doing? What are they actually doing here? So what I've done is I've converted word to a list, a string into a list. By default, in Python, and in other languages as well, we know that strings are a list of characters, and characters can range from $signs to semicolons to letters to numbers, and that's the whole point of what characters are, right? They are just characters. They're symbols that mean something. So these symbols can be arranged in a list, and that is all that strings are, is a collection which can be considered a list, right? But that would be a horizontal list of characters. They're just stringed together, right? So in this case, all I've done is I've converted it to a list using a conversion. If you ever wanted to convert something in Python, you would do str or list or char, or I believe it's chr, or int. You can change something to an int, but in this case we just want a list, right? And remember, you would put them inside of these parentheses if you ever want to change something. But we have the word here and the list, and we've made it a list of characters. I put listed characters as the variable name. So for every character in the listed characters, right, because they're a list of characters, print the character. So that's what we've done, is we've printed each individual character in the string Pierce, and that's it. Nothing fancy, just something super simple. I hope this tutorial was very helpful for you guys. If you guys need any help with strings or understanding strings, let me know. I am more than happy to help you guys with understanding Python. I want my goal to be that people are able to understand programming languages and understand what Python is, because Python is a fairly simple language, but it's not always easy the first time learning a programming language. So if you really need any help, go ahead and put that in the comments below. Put your questions there. If you'd like to go ahead and just contact me out through there. If you liked the video and it was helpful, leave a like. If it wasn't, go ahead and leave a dislike. Completely understandable. But again, I just want you guys to be able to understand what strings are and how to program in Python. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. See ya!